Greetings, one and all. My name is Rajaath Naik. I am an assistant professor in the field of psychology. So, I've only been a professor for the last couple of years, but I think I have been an reader. I can say an avid reader for almost about, say, a decade now. Sometimes there are days when I have my reading slumps. So basically, when I don't read for, say, for example, 4 or 5 days, and those are the days when I kind of feel incomplete. Now, why am I telling you all this is because I am having the extreme pleasure of taking the module of the art of reading. So, this is a two-part module, and in the first part, I'll be talking about just the introduction about what is reading and what are the benefits of reading. And in the first part, we'll also be talking about the neurology or the science of what happens in the brain as you read. So, we will be going through multiple researches and we will be seeing about the various advantages in various different dimensions of your life, may it be cognitive, may it be emotional, may it be social, etc. So, these are the contents for part 1, that is we will be talking about the introduction. As I said, the implications or the importance of reading in various dimensions of your life. We will also be talking about, is reading dying, right? So, we are kind of moving from a trend of analog to digital. So, there was a point of time when everyone used to read, may it be magazines or newspapers or anything. But now the trend is shifting completely to digital, and the question remains, is the art of reading dying? We'll also be focusing on the power of fiction. So, we'll be seeing how reading fiction, that is reading novels or reading anything written by authors regarding the fictional material, that is something that is not true, helps us build various neural pathways in our brains, which in turn helps in our empathy. I would like to begin by quoting Dr. Seuss. It says, "The more you read, the more things you will know, the more that you learn, the more places you will go." I think it is from his work, I can read with my eyes shut. So basically, the life that we live is pretty short, as we all know. Maximum we can live up to 100 years, say. That is having an optimistic point of view. But in the short span of life that you have, books are something really miraculous that lets you live multiple lives. You can go to various countries, you can go to various destinations, or you can meet various people. Some people might be even dead right now, and you can have conversations with them. But how can you do that? That is just through books. Just within the confines or the comfort of your house, you can do all that without even having to step outside your house. So, this is the magic of reading, this is the magic of books. So, in the coming slides, we will be exploring the incredible benefits of reading, about how it shapes our minds and how to get the most of reading, and why it remains an essential skill in our digital age. Reading is not just a hobby, it is a fundamental skill that opens door to knowledge, imagination, and personal growth. So, it is much more than just a hobby. I mean, it is great that you are reading for pleasure, because I think you belong to that very rare group of people that read for pleasure. Usually, why do we read? Most of the time, we have been forced to read academic content, forced to read for our exams, forced to read for anything competitive. So, in the process, what happens is we kind of tend to develop a negative association of reading versus stress, of reading versus pressure, right? So, it's great that if you are reading just for pleasure as a hobby, but what we are missing out is, even though it is a hobby, there are tremendous benefits of reading. In a world inundated with information, the ability to read critically and discerningly is more vital than ever. So, in the coming slides, we will be seeing what are the different ways of reading as well. And there is something called critical reading, which I will be explaining in detail in the coming slides. But critical reading is analyzing the content, introspecting what we have read and coming to a conclusion, basically reading critically, right? So in this ever present digital age, reading critically is also very important, not just for academics but for multiple other reasons, right? So what is reading skills? It is very self-explanatory. Reading skills refers to the ability to understand written text. It is as simple as that. When students comprehend or understand written text and combine their understanding with prior knowledge, they are able to perform the following three reading comprehension skills. So the first one is literal comprehension. Now what is literal comprehension? It is identifying simple facts presented in written text. So this aspect deals with the semantic part of our cognition, right? The next part is evaluative comprehension. Now evaluative comprehension makes judgments about written text content. Then we have inferential comprehension. This deals with connecting the text to other written passages and situations. So say for example, you are reading a page having multiple paragraphs. So basically in inferential comprehension, you are making connection between one paragraph to another. And some of the really well written books are written in such a way that each paragraph, each sentence, each page are kind of linked to one another, right from the introduction to conclusion. So usually when content is structured in such a way that the beginning and end have a seamless transition, it is very much easy to understand text, and that is what we refer to when I say inferential comprehension. Now, the development of these reading skills is vital for students' development, and a sheer volume of studies has demonstrated a link between competency in reading and overall attainment in college. That is basically our academic performance. This is also known as literary attainment and other outcomes. So according to OCED's report, now what is OCED? It is basically an organization for economic cooperation and development, which promotes policies to improve economic and social well-being of people around the world, and also the program for international student assessment, that is PIA, suggests that reading for pleasure is more important for students' educational success than their family's socio-economic status. Now, what this literally means is you don't have to belong to an affluent family. Your family is not required to be rich for them to give you resources, or basically for you to have a good education, that is to become successful. What is required is the basic skill of you to read for pleasure, right? So basically your family's economic status might be a contributing factor, but is not the major contributing factor. It is your ability to enjoy reading, to have it as a hobby, which you where you read for pleasure, basically, right? So besides, as a teacher, there are some key benefits of engaging students in reading from an early age. This is so because the development of reading is key to future success, both in college and in life. So, by supporting students to read in their leisure time at every age, teachers can help to ensure students are equipped with necessary skills to succeed in later life. Yes. Now, let's see what are the cognitive benefits of reading. Enhanced vocabulary. So, regular reading exposes individuals to diverse range of words and phrases that they usually might not encounter in everyday conversation. So, basically a research conducted by Cunningham and Stanovich in 2001 suggests that children who read more often tend to have larger vocabularies. Similarly, a study by Nagy and Herman found a positive correlation between the volume of reading and vocabulary development in adolescence. The next cognitive benefit is improved concentration. So, improved concentration, we are talking about engaging with a book demands sustained attention. So, contributing to the enhancement of Engaging with a book demands sustained attention, contributing to the enhancement of concentration skills. So, research by Carr conducted in 2010 indicates that consistent reading can help counteract the effect of the digital age on our ability to focus. This is because reading requires deep engagement and mental effort, which can positively impact attention span. So, next one is critical thinking. This is something that I feel that most of the people lack in today's world. Reading, particularly material that presents complex ideas or different perspectives, prompts readers to think critically and analyze information. According to a study by Willingham and Lloyd in 2007, reading helps individuals develop the cognitive capacity to comprehend, that is, to understand, and evaluate arguments and evidences. So basically, we are living in a world where usually we take things definitely as a face value, and we don't exactly go to question as to what are the sources or what is the reliability of the information. So reading definitely helps in getting a critical mindset about what we are reading or what we are comprehending. Engaging with literature that challenges one's assumption can further enhance critical thinking and skills. So, this was a research given by Pithers and Soden in 2000. The next cognitive skill is memory boost. Following narratives or absorbing factual information in text exercises the brain's memory functions. Research by Budson and Price in 2005 indicates that reading improves memory consolidation, particularly when readers are required to make connection between different elements of a story. Additionally, a study by Kuo et al. In 2019 suggests that reading can stimulate the brain's hippocampus, a region associated with memory function. Next, we see what are the aspects of emotional enrichment that is caused due to reading. Reading offers a unique avenue for emotional enrichment, allowing individuals to explore a range of emotions and experiences through the pages of a book. First one is empathy development, that is, engaging with the lives, experiences, and emotions of characters from different backgrounds and situations in literature can lead to enhanced empathy. A study by Marr and Oatley in 2009 found that reading fiction with well developed characters can increase readers' understanding of others' emotions. Exposure to diverse perspective in books can promote empathetic response. The second benefit is stress reduction. Reading provides an effective means of stress reduction and relaxation. Research by Kidd and Castano in 2013 suggests that reading fiction can lead to a decrease in stress levels. When readers immerse themselves in a fictional world, their focus shifts away from real stressors, providing a mental escape and promoting relaxation. The next benefit is emotional resonance. So, stories have the power to evoke strong emotional responses, leaving everlasting impression on readers. According to Oatley and Moldovenu, in their research done in 2013, individuals often experience emotional engagement with fictional narratives. This emotional resonance can lead to increased introspection and a deeper connection to the themes and messages within a story. The next benefit of reading is knowledge expansion. So, reading again, I can't stop saying this enough. Reading is a powerful tool for expanding one's knowledge base, offering opportunities to explore new perspectives, gain insight from experts, and engage in continuous learning across various domains. The first one is exploring new worlds, as I had previously mentioned. Books have the remarkable ability to transport readers to different times, places, and cultures, broadening their horizons. Research by Bento and colleagues in 2017 highlights that reading fiction enhances individuals' understanding of diverse cultures and experiences. This exposure to new worlds fosters cross cultural awareness and empathy. The next one is learning from experts. Books authored by experts in various fields provide readers with in depth insight and knowledge. A study by Konikova in 2014 suggests that reading well researched non fiction books can have a significant impact on understanding complex topics. Readers can benefit from the expertise and experience of authors who distill intricate information into accessible formats. The next benefit is continuous learning. Reading supports lifelong learning by enabling individuals to engage with new ideas and information regardless of their age. Research by Mandel and colleagues in 2018 indicates that reading throughout adulthood is associated with cognitive benefits such as enhanced memory and vocabulary retention. This continuous engagement with the reading material contributes to intellectual stimulation. The next aspect that we'll be exploring is imagination and creativity through reading. The first benefit is it obviously unleashes creativity. Reading serves as a catalyst for unleashing creativity by sparking the imagination and inspiring new ideas. As readers engage with narratives, their minds actively construct images, scenarios, and possibilities beyond the worlds on the page. This imaginative process enables individuals to explore alternative perspectives and scenarios, nurturing innovative thinking and problem solving skills. According to Csikszentmihalyi, a great pioneer in the field of flow, suggests that this is a state of deep engagement and creativity. And in this, individuals are fully absorbed in an activity such as reading and experience heightened creativity and focus. The next benefit is visualizing words. The descriptive language used in books allows readers to vividly visualize and immerse themselves in the worlds depicted. Through skillful word choice and evocative descriptions, authors create landscapes, characters, and situations that come to life in the reader's mind. This process of mental imagery not only enhances the reading experience but also engages the creative faculties, as the reader actively participates in constructing the visual and sensory aspects of the story. Research by Marr and colleagues in 2011 suggests that reading fiction activates brain regions associated with mental stimulation, contributing to the vividness of mental imagery. So, next, let's see what are the different dimensions that we can explore in literature. The first one being fictional reading. So, fictional reading involves engaging and narrative works that are imagined or invented by the author. Fiction encompasses a wide range of genres such as mystery, science fiction, romance, fantasy, and literary fiction. When readers immerse themselves in fictional stories, they enter imaginative worlds created by authors, connecting with characters, plot lines, and themes. This dimension of reading allows for emotional engagement, empathy development, and creative thinking. Fictional reading invites readers to explore various perspectives, delve into complex human emotions, and ponder universal themes that resonate across cultures and time periods. The second one is non-fiction reading. Non-fiction reading involves consuming works that present factual information, ideas, or analysis. This category includes a diverse array of genres, including biographies, essays, historical accounts, self help books, scientific texts, and much more. Non-fiction reading provides readers with opportunity to learn about real-world subjects, deepen their understanding of specific topics, and gain insight from experts. This dimension of reading encourages critical thinking, information synthesis, and the acquisition of knowledge. Readers engage with non-fiction to expand their horizons, challenge their perspectives, and gain practical insights applicable to their lives. The third one is digital reading. Digital reading refers to the consumption of written content through electronic devices such as e readers, tablets, smartphones, and computers. This mode of reading has gained prominence in the digital age due to its convenience, accessibility, and interactivity. Digital platform offers a diverse range of reading materials, including ebooks, online articles, blogs, and interactive storytelling apps. Digital reading provides readers with the flexibility to access content anytime and anywhere, engage with multimedia elements, and participate in online communities discussing literature. However, concerns have been raised about potential cognitive differences between digital and traditional reading formats, prompting ongoing research in this area. Basically, each dimension of literary exploration offers unique experience and benefits, whether through imaginative immersion in fiction, factual enrichment in non fiction, or convenience and interactivity of digital reading. Combining these dimensions allows readers to engage with the rich tapestry of written work that contribute to personal growth, intellectual stimulation, and a deeper understanding of the world. Reading is one of the best ways to explore the world, as we have extensively discussed before. In fact, it is very important and timeless way of exploring the world. But the question is, why lesser and lesser people are reading? It feels like almost nobody is reading per capita. Reading for pleasure has always been a minority interest. Most people don't read for pleasure. Of the people who read for pleasure, only a small proportion buy books. Of the people who buy books, only a small proportion buy difficult books. It is basically a specialty market, and this doesn't seem to change. But what is changing is that gaining knowledge from other sources are increasing by ways such as YouTube videos and podcasts and audiobooks. So basically, now people are finding the value of books in other means and modes of gaining knowledge. And obviously, other means of technology have their own advantages and disadvantages. I'm not saying they are bad, but the content or the knowledge that we get from books, the way we process it is much more complex. The thing about a book that you can't get from a discussion or a video or audio is that a book is like a portrait as opposed to a photograph. A photograph is just a two-dimensional capture, but in a portrait which is painted by an artist, there are multiple layers giving it tremendous depth. An artist works on it for weeks and weeks, but you still have the same single image, but with multitudes of depth in it. Similarly, books enables us to then think and then rethink, and so you can go deeper in a book than you can't in any other medium. But that doesn't mean you can't go deep in podcasts, and it doesn't mean that there's no educational utility in podcasts. But there's audiobooks and people are still listening to it. I'm not saying it is bad, but the depth in which you can go while you read is way, way, way greater than you can get in any other medium. So I think now it is very important for us to understand the concept of something called doom scrolling. You might find yourself engaging in this, especially during the weekends when you have a lot of free time. All you do is just sit on your sofa, sit on your couch with your phone, and you scroll endlessly. So basically, what is doom scrolling? So doom scrolling refers to the habit of continuously scrolling through negative news and distressing content on social media and news platforms. So what is the cycle of doom scrolling? It is basically engaging in a cycle that creates alarming or upsetting information, leading to heightened stress and anxiety. Also, there is a huge impact of AI and social media content. Especially, it would be helpful for you to check out this documentary called The Social Dilemma. Right now, the AI is getting so better in predicting what you would like to see. Say, for example, in the coming post. So, as you keep scrolling, there is this endless endless ocean of content that keeps coming and keeps bombarding, right? And the thing is, you start questioning yourself, why am I getting content that I might potentially look for or search for? So even without searching, I'm getting this endless stream of content. So basically all these social media apps and softwares, they have AI, and with their complex algorithms, in a way they are able to predict what you would like to see, right? So when you're constantly bombarded with high stimulation content like this, the question is, would you go for a simple old book, right? So now we're talking about what is more stimulating for the mind, right? A phone with endless content, or a book with in its own way has endless content, enriching content. So usually there was a time when you log into WhatsApp, automatically your status would update saying, hey there, I am using WhatsApp. Now the situation has come to such a point that the status should read, hey there, WhatsApp is using me. So what are the effects of doom scrolling on well-being? The first one is obviously impact on your mental health. Doom scrolling can significantly impact mental health. Constant exposure to alarming news, crisis, and negativity can contribute to increased anxiety, depression, and a sense of hopelessness. A study by Primak et al. In 2017 found that heavy social media use, which often involves doom scrolling, was associated with higher levels of depressive symptoms in young adults. The second one is sleep disturbance. Excessive doom scrolling, particularly before bedtime, can disrupt sleep patterns. Consuming negative content close to sleep time can activate stress responses, making it difficult to relax and fall asleep. The blue light emitted by screens also interfere with the production of melatonin, a hormone that regulates sleep. This disruption can lead to sleep disturbance and overall reduced sleep quality. Then there is this negative feedback loop. So doom scrolling can lead to negative feedback loop where exposure to distressing news increase stress and anxiety levels. Paradoxically, this heightened emotional state can reinforce the urge to keep scrolling for updates. This loop perpetuates feelings of distress and a compulsion to stay connected to the constant stream of negative information. Productivity is impacted. Doom scrolling can have a detrimental impact on productivity. Constantly checking for updates on negative news and events can detract from focusing on work, studying, or other important tasks. This divided attention and distraction can lead to decreased effectiveness and hinder accomplishment of goals. Now, how do we break the habit of doom scrolling? The first one is just having awareness, right? First step to breaking the habit of doom scrolling is definitely awareness, recognizing when you are engaging in compulsive scrolling through negative content and its impact on your mood. Pay attention to any feelings of stress, anxiety, or unease that arise as a result of this behavior. The second one is to limit screen time. Establish specific periods for social media and online news consumption. Set clear boundaries on when and how long you'll engage with these platforms. Using digital tools to track your screen time can help you stay accountable and mindful of your usage. Then we have positive content. Balance the consumption of negative news with uplifting and positive content. Follow accounts, pages, or platforms that share inspiring stories, motivational messages, and contents that contribute positively to your well being. Diversifying your online content can help create a more balanced and enriching digital experience. Then it is taking control. Prioritize your mental health well-being by actively engaging in activities that promote relaxation, mindfulness, and healthy technology use. Practice techniques like deep breathing, meditation, or spending time in nature to counteract the stress caused by doom scrolling. Establish a routine that includes offline activities that you enjoy and contribute to your overall wellness. If I came and told you there is one thing you could all do, which would make you more imaginative, make your memory more better, probably improve your personal relationship, and make you a nicer person, you would probably be very skeptical. And even more so if I said it costs nothing, and probably everybody who is watching this video already does it. And as this module suggests, you would have already guessed what it is, but it lies in the art of reading. But I'm not talking about the sort of reading that we all know is incredibly important. That is the sort of reading we do for education, the sort of reading we do for administration, the sort of reading which we have to do nowadays just to get to life. All the previous mentioned types of readings are still very important, but what I'm indicating or talking about is fiction. Stories, narratives, the sort of reading where you are reading things from inside another person's head, where it takes you right inside the character's emotions and feelings and actions, so you are seeing it from their perspective. That's the sort of reading which is at best thought of as pleasurable and at worst quite often as a waste of time. What I want to tell you is that surprisingly, fiction is very useful indeed in ways that we probably never previously suspected. In fact, it's more important probably than any other form of reading. There is some new evidence which comes rather surprisingly out of brain science to support that. First of all, in 2013, there was a series of experiments done by two New York psychologists, David Kidd and Emmanuel Castano. What they did was take people and ask them to read quite short passages from various types of books. Some of them were non-fiction books, explanatory or learning books, and some of them were thrillers, plots where you read about events happening in the story, but not very much about the people. You weren't inside their heads basically. And the third sort was the sort of fiction I'm talking about, which is when you are reading things from the perspective of the characters. After that, the researchers got the people to look at a series of photographs of people with very strong facial expressions of one sort or another, and they were asked to judge from the expressions alone what they thought was going on inside the people's heads. This is actually quite a standard test for something that we call theory of mind. It is basically the intuitive ability to see from the way a person is expressing themselves what is going on in their head. It allows us to just at least for a moment to step outside our own head and see the world for a bit from other people's point of view. And the same faculty, by extension, opens up whole worlds to us because it allows us to imagine what it's like to be somewhere else, doing something else, seeing it in a different way. And thus, people who don't have it, that is, the ability to perceive from others' perspectives, are quite severely handicapped, particularly in social life. They find relationships very difficult, and more than that, they are limited by a very limited imagination. Because without the ability to step outside yourself, it is difficult to imagine anything, really. Now, you don't actually have to look at academic papers to see this effect. We're all quite familiar with it. You probably know that our brains are made up of neurons, electrical cells, and they join together to form pathways which have electricity zapping back and forth endlessly. And that electricity ebb and flow is our thoughts, our emotions, and our feelings. Some of these pathways are pretty similar in all of us because they're actually built into our genes. So in this particular image, they are the pathways we all have which take the light from our eyes to the visual cortex, to the back of our head. In the next image, you have got the connection between the two hemispheres of the brain so that each side quite literally knows what the other is doing. Now, I just want to show you quickly the difference between speaking and reading because they are extremely different. Speaking is something that, again, in our genes, we already have those pathways wired into us when we are born. All you have to do is put a baby around people who are talking, and sooner or later, they will start to do it too. It's natural. But reading is not. You could put a baby in a library surrounded by books. From the day it is born, it would never start spontaneously reading. It has to be taught how to do it. And this is the reason speech has been with us for at least 100,000 years. Quite the time for natural selection to actually get it wired into our brains. But reading probably only started about 5,000 years ago. And until about 100 years ago, most people didn't do it at all. So rather than being able to use those pre-wired, intuitive, if you like, pathways, every time every person who learns to read has to do it afresh. And that means making new pathways, individual pathways that individuals do make all their lives. Every time they have an experience, it will lay down a memory or a new habit. They create individual pathways on top of the basic blueprint. And that's what we have to do when we read. When you look at a brain that's speaking, it's fairly straightforward. If you see a dog, say, information zooms to the back of the head, the visual cortex, and then sort of chunks forward, as you can see in the image. As it chunks forward, it picks up memories of what it's looking at until by the time it gets to that blue area, which is the first of the major language areas, it is then able to put a word to it. Vernix area in our brain region, located in the left hemisphere's temporal lobe, usually adjacent to the auditory cortex, it plays a key role in language comprehension and understanding. This area is involved in processing and interpreting the meaning of words and sentences. Then it gets jogged on again to the next red area, Broca's. And that's when we remember how to say it. Broca's area is a region of the brain specifically located in the frontal lobe's left hemisphere. It plays a crucial role in language processing and production, particularly in the generation of grammatically correct and coherent speech. Quite literally, the motor area, which is that green stripe, is then instructed to send instructions to our lips and our tongues to actually make the word. That's how speaking works. But reading is very different. When we see abstract symbols written down, our brain has to do far more work. It actually has to, when we are learning to read, we have to create all those new connections in many different parts of the brain. As you can see, the red bits or the lit up bits, you can see these aren't clear, easy one trap pathways. These are really complicated networks that are being formed in the brain when we read. So your brain is doing a lot more work. It's connecting far more parts. If you like, it's a more holistic experience. It forces you to use parts of the brain that aren't usually used. More than that, the reason or one reason why it's so widespread is that when we read things about somebody doing something, running for their life, or they're screaming, or they're frightened, what happens in the brain of the reader is that some bits of the brain that would be active if they were doing it themselves becomes active in us as well. Admittedly, not quite to the same extent, or we'd act out everything we read, and we can usually inhibit them enough not to do that. But basically, these are brain scans of people. You can see from the color chart in the slide. The actual movement produces the pattern on your left. When you're reading it, what is happening in your brain is the pattern on the right. And as you see, they are very similar, with the only difference being that when you're reading about things, it's not quite as intense. If it is carried on in intensity, you would act it out. Because the important thing about reading is that you're not just learning what's going on in that person's head, you too, to a certain extent, are experiencing it. And there is a very big difference there. It is the same with everything. With pain, if you watch or read about somebody in pain, the same bits of the brain that would be active if you were feeling the pain will become active as well. And some people feel this is so much, and some people feel this so much that they actually do feel and report the pain. Same with anger, same with emotions, same with quite complicated intellectual things like judgment, moral judgments, and so on. Now, This is the new information that really only has come out recently. Some researchers from Emory University in the States decided to see if they could actually see inside the brain what is going on. We know already from the earlier works that people become at least temporarily more sensitive to other people's feelings once they have read a book or been reading some fiction. And these researchers set out to see if this was something that could actually be seen inside of the brain physically. So they had students, lots and lots, I think it was quite a large sample, reading a passage of particularly engaging and exciting novel with a lot of inside character driven stuff. It was actually Pompeii by Robert Harris, if you want to do the same thing yourself. And they had the people read just 30 pages a night for 5 nights in a row. And they took brain scans before the people started doing this exercise to get a baseline of what their brains would look like before. Then they had them read, and every night after they had read a passage, they came in the next morning and they had their brain scans again. And every day there were differences. Every single day there were differences. These images show where the differences were found, the connection which as the week went on and they read a passage each night, they got thicker and denser. And they are, as you see, all over the brain, not just in the language area, everywhere. Basically, what these people seem to be doing was giving themselves a really good workout. In fact, the brain scans looked more or less what you would expect to find if these people had lived the actual events they had been reading about. They had actually lived an experience and it had become a part of the architecture of their brain. So, in conclusion, your brain needs a workout as much as your body, and reading seems to be one of the best workouts you can get. And not only is it good for you, but it's also good for society as a whole. The brain is like a muscle. The more you force yourself through books to take other people's perspectives, to sympathize, to empathize with other people, the more empathetic a society we will have. In the next part of The Art of Reading, I shall be giving some general advice on effective reading. We shall explore the various techniques of effective reading and their benefits, and also learning about some interesting strategies for developing reading skills. Thank you.